Hello, this is the presentation that was given on October 10th at the Full Flex, but it's basically an FAQ, quickie overview of the assessment component of program review, yet another version of that. So first of all, I don't want to dwell on it, but you can see that there is new language for the learning centers, for student services, and for instruction. Two parts to the new language on instruction, the discipline and here the general ed. You can go back and look over those if you want. There's also other PowerPoints which explain in a bit more detail what that new language amounts to. I want to look at the sort of FAQs that have arisen as people work with program review. And the first question is, how do you assess learning in a program, which is obviously tricky because we don't do exit exams, and quite often our programs, that is to say our degrees and certificates, may not include sequenced courses. We don't know which students are taking them and so on. So really it's a question of, first of all, deciding what you want to look at. Pick something, an aspect of your discipline that you want to find out about, that you want to get information on. This might be a course that's problematic or maybe just new and you want to see if it's working. Another way you can sort of pare this question down is to think about equity. You might look at student learning for a particular student population or distance education. You'll find a lot of other suggestions at our webpage. There's several PowerPoints about how to assess your program. But the bottom line is, bear in mind that you are taking a snapshot of student learning in your discipline, in your program. You're not trying to actually track all the students. Another issue that comes up often is many of our departments, of our disciplines, don't offer a degree or certificate. Obviously, student services and learning centers don't, but a lot of instructional disciplines, or some of them anyway, don't. So what is their program? Again, you'll find a lot of suggestions on our webpage. You can think of program really as being an aspect of your discipline, or if you offer sequenced courses, the capstone course, or if there's some disciplinary core. In other words, it's an opportunity to look at student learning, but not just confined to how students did as they work towards a grade in a specific course, but just in your discipline generally, or in your degree or certificate, or in some aspect of your degree or certificate. And you'd want to have some kind of a question you're answering. So here's another FAQ. What if you don't have a research question? Well, create one. First of all, you always are going to have some kind of research question, and it could simply be, do the students who take our degree or certificates actually achieve the learning goals that those degree and certificates are supposed to produce? In effect, are our programs doing what they're supposed to do? But mostly we have specific issues. Again, you might look through the equity lens at student populations. But there might be questions you have about your discipline that affect other disciplines. Do the students who learn a particular skill in this class apply it in other classes, like I'm hoping they will? You might be interested in whether a new course is working well, whether a new student population is doing well. Is there a new pedagogy you're trying? You may have any number of research questions. Whichever one it is, you pick it and you document it. Here's a question which is particularly pertinent in fall of 18. We have been collecting SLO data with no particular goal. The idea was that we collected data on each outcome at least once every 3 years, and then we would look at it and we'd have a big revelation. Well, you may have formulated a really good research question, but the data that you've collected over the last 2 years may not help you with that question. In that case, I would suggest a few things. First of all, share it. For the program review for this fall of 18, go ahead and tell us what data you've got. Share the data you've got. I would do what you can with it. If you can, get some information out of it. If you can analyze any trends, if it tells you something about student learning in your program, share that too. But if it doesn't get you anywhere, it's okay to say that. Program review should not be the place where we, put on a fake front and pretend that we, and try to, make something out of what we've got. It should be a place where we reflect, and that can include saying, this data doesn't really tell me anything I didn't already know, and I'd really like to find out X. It's one of the things that we have, one of the reasons we've changed the reporting structure for program review is to make sure that there's an overview aspect to it. In other words, if a lot of faculty say that they have tried something and it didn't work, or they've encountered a particular issue, or a particular data set isn't getting them anywhere, that's good to see if a lot of people share that. Similarly, you may have an idea of something you'd like to do which isn't feasible, or you're not sure how to do it. Well, again, if we at Academic Senate and on those faculty committees can get a sense of what the faculty in general are working with, we can maybe organize workshops, or alert the administration. We can be supportive. So basically, be real. Another issue that's arising is from the GE question in the instructional faculty program review, which asks faculty to discuss participation in anything that was interdisciplinary or supported an interdisciplinary learning outcome. And a lot of faculty may be thinking, I don't know, didn't do anything. Well, the first answer to that is, are you sure? Because if you in your discipline have worked with faculty in another discipline to do something which was intended to support student learning, then that could be worth reporting. For instance, if you have had speakers from other disciplines come into your classes to talk, that might be worth reporting. If you have participated in spring of 17, or indeed in fall of 16, it's reaching back a bit, there were a couple of interdisciplinary activities. One in the fall was around effective communication. There was about 10 faculty involved in that. We scored an assignment. In the spring of 17, the actual activity did not come off because we couldn't get student interest. But there was a group of about 14 of us, I think, about 10 of us, faculty who were looking at trying to get a student discussion on climate change going, and we did a lot of work there, which you can definitely talk about if that was something you participated in. There's also a scoring activity. You see the link here? Follow that link and you will find your way to the overview page at the SLOAC site at the college website. And you will see an activity on effective communication, quantitative reasoning, and critical thinking. And this was a workshop we did on Flex Day, where a group of 15 faculty took on 3 of our 6 institutional outcomes. A group of 5 faculty for each outcome from different disciplines created language using a shared rubric. So they built a rubric for scoring student work in effective communication, critical thinking, and quantitative reasoning, but it was language that suited everybody's discipline. So you can use that rubric if you want. There's no reason why you can't join in. You'll find it at that website. You can download it, and just when you get to a relevant assignment to whichever one of the outcomes, aligns with what you do, get to the relevant assignment, and just as an outgrowth of grading, just score maybe 20 of your students with that rubric, and send the results to me, and I'll add you to the mix, and that could be something you could discuss. However, going forward, we'll have a lot more interdisciplinary activities. These will be things that maybe you come up with on your own. I think the college is going to lay on a lot of them because there are much more things to participate in. But as I say, for this program review, you're probably going to talk more about planning, but also think about things you've done. Another issue, many of you have come up with great research questions, but where to get the data to answer them. If you have a question about student learning or improvement in a particular skill, you're probably going to want to use classroom work or perhaps student surveys that you tailor yourself. The Planning, Research and Institutional Effectiveness Office can do ad hoc reports out of Banner using student achievement data. You know, if you're an instructional faculty, and I think now student services too, we get a demographic breakdown of student achievement in our different areas. And anything that is in Banner, I think, PRE can basically run reports on. However, before I go on, notice the 3 asterisks. We are not Facebook. We only have 1.5 data analysts. So while that data is there, and we could probably mine it to find patterns, we don't have the resources to do that on a dime. So again, this will be something more in your planning section. You might have come up with something you want to find out, and it's going to be the thing that you work on this academic year. And maybe you can get the results out of PRE. Maybe you can get a special report out of PRE tracking a particular student group or a particular course, but you're going to need to give them time, especially now they're swamped because it's program review. But the idea is there. And again, if we find that a lot of faculty want to do this, that will be interesting to know from program review, because it will kind of give us an idea of what to prioritize in terms of resources. There are also, by the way, great metrics at the district website. Their strategic plan scorecard shows a lot of information that we can use. And again, other suggestions at the SLOAC site. Here's a question, not really about assessment, but it's come up a lot in talking to faculty. Answers to 3 and 4 often overlap. That is to say, the section on assessment and the section on planning may well overlap. And indeed, in some places, you might be talking about the same things for section 2 and section 3. You might discuss student equity in section 2, and then in section 3, which is assessment, you may find yourself saying, yes, well, we worked on student equity as part of our assessment. That's what we were assessing, was whether we had improved student learning for a particular group. So there may be some overlap. You may, when you talk about your current assessments, you may find yourself talking about what you're going to do and then saying it again in the section on planning, section 4. That's fine. If you repeat yourself, that's okay. Just repeat yourself. We can, again, use this as a way to see if there's things we can do to improve the organization, but basically it won't kill anyone if we have to read the same thing twice. And that is all the FAQs that were garnered by mid-October. If you have more questions about the Fall 18 program review, by all means, let me know. I am at murphym@smccd.edu, but you can, of course, find me at the SLOAC site. And good luck!